Thank you. Oh, I remember that I did this last year. Where did I put them all?
Oh my God, I walked in my break and it was like, oh, it's not bad this morning. I walked in my lunch and I come back and my hair was just wet. I'm like, oh, glad I took the time to straighten it because I went early again. Ooh, sorry.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, it was.
Well, senior teachers will have no excuse for being late, huh?
When did they move in?
There is, and you would not believe that they moved on Friday and
When
it's
did,
done.
yeah, Jenny was telling me about that.
Wow.
When did she do?
She had it.
Oh, she did?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
yes,
was
I
the
did
week
see
before
that,
they
yep.
moved. Of course, you have a baby one week, you move the next week, you make sure you have baby pictures, family pictures in between there. I mean,
Wow.
I don't know. I just,
Kudos to her.
Wow.
I just do what I'm told. But And then, of course, yesterday we had a complete my side of the family pool party, so she was up for that, went to the cities, and did all that. So, yeah, everybody is doing great and loves being in town.
That's awesome.
You're good.
Yes.
Once,
Yeah, it's good. It's a bunch of mom and family together and
they don't mess with that.
They're
They're
doing
tough.
competition
They're
up
tough.
there too.
I mean, after being in there,
we want to.
oh.
Nice. See, you need to get third
Yes.
with that.
And
In the first
organized.
15 minutes of the trip.
My
Yeah.
eyes are just banging, I'm like, get her whatever she needs.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
I just found out last weekend I'm supposed to be a grandpa.
Really?
Yeah.
We're here?
How
Yeah,
exciting.
boy,
I'm
grandpa.
super excited.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Holy smokes, I
When
I've
is the
been
due
waiting.
date?
February,
Just, my Jessica's birthday.
I mean, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
When you said, when you called
I hope I don't.
I know, there's a period of time where you don't want
my
that.
youngest is the one that called the meeting, and then all of a sudden we're like, something's going on, and then the other two show up, like, is this an intervention? And she's kind of like, yeah, we're like, oh shit, what did you do? I was just, me and April were focused on her, and then Sam walks in with this thing saying, it's me. And we're like, oh, thank God. But we were totally.
Okay, that's pretty good,
We
actually.
were, well, me and April were so mad and upset at first, and then we're just like,
That's great.
that's great, and was just laughing.
Good? Oh, good.
Courtney coming?
She's trying, she may end up, but I doubt it.
That's very exciting because, you know, connected to the network, and like, he can probably help you sit here next to him.
Well, that was the thing, they were told they would not have internet until Friday. Kinsley was just,
Yeah, there's
oh,
some.
wait, what? And so then they went to the other grandmas for a couple days and were gone when we went to the pool party yesterday, and then the dish guy fixed it. I think the internet person, I don't know, something about one undid someone else's cord or this or that, I don't know what it all was, but I think the dish person fixed it. So they had it today, and all was right with the world. Because there was some new something coming on today that
She was.
we needed to know about.
asked, and I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Ready?
Because of the.
I'm ready. 6 o'clock? What do we got? 1 minute. Okay. All right, it's 6 o'clock.
So-
Call the meeting to order. Please rise for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call vote whenever you're ready, please, Anne Marie.
Anne Marie Anderson here, Jill Geske,
Here.
Courtney Knifel, Eric Ryan,
Here.
Brock Wright,
Here.
Joe Sandblickle,
Here.
Brad Soransky,
Here.
Deb Burnett,
Here.
Ashley Goodman Mason, here, John Goodman.
Here. All right, no student council reps, of course. Public notice this meeting was compliant with Wisconsin statutes, chapter 1984, is posted at the elementary, middle, and high schools, as well as the post office and Union Bank. At this point, we're looking for an approval of the agenda, please.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Jill? Roll call vote, whenever ready, please, Emery.
Right?
Yes.
Anderson, yes. Geske?
Yes.
Knight, Ryan?
Yes.
All right, next meeting dates, August 15th, which we'll be looking at moving a little bit later in the agenda, September 19th, September 26th, and October 17th, all at 6 p.m. If anyone has any conflicts, just let myself or Joe or Teresa know. That'd be perfect. On to the general public address. All right, seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which includes minutes of the regular board meeting held June 20th, minutes of the executive session, also held June 20th, financial statements dated June of 2022, approval of monthly receipts and checks, student activity account receipts and checks, consideration of the 22-23 board calendar, and that is it. So at this point, we're looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, please.
I'll make the motion.
Jim.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, Emery, please, Emery.
Anderson, yes. Geske?
Yes.
Knight, Ryan?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. All right, on to the staff report, starting with the Community Relations Committee report.
So on July 6th, the Community Relations Committee met, and that was Emery and Courtney and myself had met to talk about community relations and where we can, this was specifically, we have 2 community relations committee meetings per year. One of them is strictly regarding outreach to the community through social media, and the second one is connections to organizations in the community and what we can do to help enhance those relationships. So this one was specifically about the social media growth in our from our school perspective, and are there different ways that we can get the messages of the great things happening in school to people in the community. So we went over the social media trend over the course of the last year. We continue to have a very strong social media presence for the size of our school district. Any of all the schools, social media for schools works with about 60 schools, and of varying sizes. We would probably be about 30 on that list in terms of size school districts, and we consistently find ourselves in the top 5 to 7 when it comes to community engagement from a social media standpoint. So we have a tremendous following in all 3 areas, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and it's a great place for us to share this stuff. So our relationship with Social School for EDU has been fantastic, and they've done a wonderful job of helping us to celebrate the great things. So we then talked about how can we engage the group that might not be connected to that social media piece, and what do we do with our other modes of communication. So Emery, if you wanted to take that on, just in terms of, we talked about the Cricket Chirp and some of the ideas that came out in terms of connecting on the Cricket Chirp. We talked about engaging kids more through that medium, like
We did.
word finds, crosswords, cool things about the village, and try to make it like more of an interactive piece of it. One of the things that we did talk about, we were all in full agreement in, is that the Cricket Chirp, regardless, if we have a smaller amount of articles than we've had in the past, we still think it's a very, very productive document that we want to put out there. So there's a faction of our community that loves that, even though the stories are weeks, maybe even a month old. They still like having that in their hands, and so we feel like it was still an important piece of what we do. So, did I hit the pieces?
Yeah, and then I think we talked about, I did not bring my notes on that, sorry about that, but we did talk about also trying to expand with a page, maybe more about community type events and goings on, and the support that we get locally, and kind of relaying a little bit more of that information in there, and acknowledgements, that kind of thing. We had a really good discussion. It was a great meeting.
Mhm.
We really did.
I totally agree. And a lot of really great ideas came out that we actually talked about today in our administrative team meeting. So we've passed that along to our admin team, and I think we're setting up a schedule that will really help that process move forward. So great meeting, and I love the social media presence that we've created here, and it all stems from the great stories that come out of classrooms and hallways and fields and courts and, you know, labs and everything that goes along with it. So we're very happy about that.
All right.
Good, thank you.
Any further questions, comments? Thank you very much. On to administrative reports and board actions, starting with business finance.
The first item on our agenda is the budget adjustments and amendments. I have that handout at your seats. As I mentioned in our last meeting, this is our process to align the detail of the account codes with the detail of our spending. This ties to our board policy that you'll see some of these small adjustments for even $346. According to board policy, we need board approval in order to end with they all have to be under, and this gives the board approval to align them in that way. So many of them are quite small, and it's just shoring those up. There are some larger ones, such as we received those federal funds, a larger allocation mid-year. And we talked about that when we purchased the bus, and that bus is an uptick as well. Some of the other areas that caused us to go over and needed us to realign, we still stayed within our budget, we'll still be adding to fund balance, but this is aligning within the detail. The pole vault that you approved caused our 160s to go a little over. And then when we received the E-rate money up top, then we used that along with some money that from our 110s to get our iPads and our Chromebooks refreshed, making sure our technology is up to date. So a lot of these things we've talked about aren't surprises, but it really is the last thing that I will upload for our auditors so that they can check that box that we have aligned everything as per policy.
Perfect. Are there any questions?
Buses have sure gotten expensive.
Right?
Right, they're going up.
Yeah, I guess.
And Deb was very, very, very appreciative.
Oh, yeah, she
That
was,
was awesome, yeah.
she came in, and I sent you guys a text,
Yeah.
she was so happy that, and just to get some pictures of her in the new bus.
Yep, well
Man.
deserved.
I talked to her
I agree.
the night it was on
Yeah,
the agenda, and
yeah.
she's like, please tell me if there's gonna be an issue. I don't wanna get my hopes up and then have it taken away.
Oh, yeah, you missed the pictures of her out front, boy, she came in the office, she goes, it's sweet, it's so sweet, it's so sweet,
Yeah.
so.
Good.
I went, she parked around here, we went out, took some pictures, and it was great, so it's good. Happy for her, and again, well
Yeah,
deserved,
well deserved, absolutely.
100%.
All right, if there are no further questions, we're looking for a motion to approve the 21-22 budget adjustments as presented, please.
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Roll call vote, Emery, is Emery?
Knifel, Ryan,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Anderson, yes, Geske.
Yes.
All right, on a consideration of lunch for staff on August 29th.
So we have our staff in-service days. We're just over a month away from welcoming everybody back and looking forward to seeing everybody, but not yet. We want them to still, make sure that they get recharged and ready to go. And we'd like to have our, in the past, we've had kickoffs start to the year, and the board has provided lunch for our staff. We'd like to do that for the staff on the 29th. And if the board is willing, the board will provide the staff a lunch on that day on our welcome back day. So similar costs in terms of what we've had in the past. So,
Do you think we could also squeeze in a breakfast on the first day
I was gonna say,
possibly?
didn't we do two
We did
last year?
breakfast, yeah.
I thought
We've
we
done two
did.
last
I thought we
couple
did
of
two
years,
last year.
something.
Would that be all right? I think if we could.
if you'd like to do two, we'll
If we've
definitely
been in
do
the
two.
budget,
Yeah.
If we could do two, I
Okay.
guess I would, doesn't matter, doesn't matter what
doesn't
day,
have to be
anybody?
breakfast or lunch or whatever.
No.
doesn't
Districts
matter.
pay for staff lunch.
Whatever Val
Yeah, okay.
So we'll
come up with,
do,
would be best
Yeah, I don't know
received.
how
pay for
Each
staff
day
lunch.
goes-
You can do August 29th for lunch and then just choose another day for breakfast possibly?
We could do, yep, and breakfast, yep. I'll make sure that happens. We're good.
That'd be all right?
Yep.
So we'll just change the motion to the breakfast and lunch?
Breakfast and lunch.
Okay, looking for a motion as such.
I'll make that motion with those changes.
Okay,
I'll second.
roll call vote whenever you're ready, please, Anne Marie.
Ryan,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Anderson, yes, Geske,
Yes.
Knife.
Thank you very much, we appreciate that, and the staff will as well, so. appreciate it.
Also well deserved.
Yeah, they do a great job.
Yeah. All right, on to consideration of private school transportation.
Yes, a sample of our recommended merge letter is at your seats today. I apologize for not having this in the booklet, but we needed the extra week in order to make sure we were analyzing and providing the most cost-effective means. So if you recall, so just some quick background, we as a public school district in Wisconsin are required to transport our resident students to the private school if the private school meets a series of criteria. And so we, in the past, years ago, we offered a van. And every year we do the cost analysis to see if it's more cost effective to do the van or parent transportation contracts. In most recent years, we've done the parent contracts because it's been more cost effective. So we needed another week to run the analysis, and the reason being we've had two private schools one private school contact us and one parent who attends a different private school contact us inquiring about parent transportation. And so we run the analysis, it's a state form that we do, that we have to complete based on our ending data. And it shows that if in fact we do have 20 students potentially needing transportation, it's more cost effective for us to run vans instead. And so the letter in front of you would be what the route, and you actually don't have to have a motion because we're providing a van and that's part of what we do. The motion in the booklet was if we were doing a parent contract. But if you're comfortable with this, we would send this letter alerting families that this year we'll be providing a van. In the mornings, the students would be picked up at their homes with the regular bus route. They would get dropped off at school, and then a van would take them from our school here to the private school. And then in the afternoon, the van would pick them up at their school and take them home. So they don't have to choose to be transported. There are some students who are sophomores, juniors, seniors. Their families may choose not to participate, but this would be the most cost-effective means this year for the students that have been sent over. Am I explaining that okay?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, this would, the motion would die for no lack of motion. We would send that letter out to people just to, that we do have the ability to transport them at this point.
And then we would ask if they do want us to transport them, they contact us so we can
Correct.
include them. If they don't
En route.
contact us, we'll assume that they're transporting themselves.
Right.
Is there a deadline? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What if we were to come back, we only had like 2?
Then we would,
Come back next month with a motion for paying them, or what would you have to bust it then if being somebody?
we would have to reassess. If we talked about that, the concern would be if we only have 2 and we do parent contracts for those 2, do we have to circle back
Yeah.
and do parent contracts for all those others?
And that would be a concern on our
And-
level, because at
yeah.
that point, if that was then the new direction, then anybody not in that direction would, I think, ask the question. So I think we'd probably
Yeah,
still
that makes sense.
transport.
Yeah.
All right, if there's no further questions, that will die for lack of motion, and we'll continue on to policy legislation. Good.
So, yeah, consideration of adopting the academic standards for the 22-23 school year. So, in the 2015-17 state budget, we specifically require the school boards must annually include on the agenda item for the first school board meeting of the school year that clearly identifies the academic standards adopted by the board. So, what we'd like to do is move forward with the continuation of using Common Core and Wisconsin academic state standards as the academic standards for the 22-23 school year. This is no change from where we've been in the past. And it's the core of the curriculum direction that we've already started with. I'd like to continue that.
So at this point, if there are no questions, we're looking for a motion to adopt Common Core and Wisconsin academic standards for 2022-23 school year as presented, please.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call vote, Emery, please, Emery.
Geske,
Yes.
Kneifel, Ryan,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Anderson, yes.
Great, on to planning.
The discussion is really about moving the August board meeting. If the board is okay, I was going to have to join the board meeting virtually either way in August. On the 15th, I know that there might be some connectivity issues for me on the 15th to be part of that meeting. So I know that there would not be connectivity issues on the 22nd. So if the board would be willing and would like me to be at that meeting, I would be, I'd ask the board if they'd like to move it to the 22nd, knowing that I can be there for that one, and I probably could not be there for the 15th. So it would be up to you if it's too much of a problem to move it to the 22nd, and we just want to have the meeting without me present, then we can do that. But going to the 22nd would ensure that I could be there as well.
Good.
I'm fine.
Emery?
I'm good.
Good, Ken?
Good.
All right,
I won't be able to be there on the
Yep.
22nd, but we,
we've talked about
yeah,
that.
we will.
Yep.
All right.
So the board's aware.
We're looking for a motion to move the August board meeting to August 22nd, please.
I'll make the motion.
I will second it.
Roll call vote, Emery, please, Emery.
Geske,
Yes.
Kneifel, Ryan,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Anderson, yes.
All right, on to summer projects update.
The one big summer project update that we're still cleaning a lot of stuff and getting a lot of things moved and everything, but the one thing that we've really tried to attack when it comes down to the bigger summer projects is the safety and security of the building when it comes to both cameras and doors. And John actually is gonna give us just an update in terms of where we're at with that process, but we're really trying to figure out ways to make sure that the building is more secure at every level. And if there are things that we're not doing that we need to do, we wanna make sure that we're actually getting that stuff done, but prior to staff coming back. So John, I'm gonna let you just kind of just talk specifically about
Sure.
some of the stuff that we're doing with access.
Sure, last year we had a couple of our safety drills and we had some really good feedback from Oak County and the city of Fall Creek PD. And so we're just looking at adding a few more cameras, a few more magnetic locks to hold doors so that in the event of a emergency scenario, the doors can automatically close. We're adding some more card access readers to the outside doors. Really working hard with the staff to get rid of the keys, the Allen wrenches that key open the doors. Because if there is an event, then those are manually keyed. You know, that's a problem unless someone's gonna go and unlock them. You know, so we're adding a few more cameras in a couple of hallways, adding more access card readers, and a few more controls, a panic button in the district office. We should help secure some of the problem areas that we had when we did our drills last year. So we're always trying to get better. We all read, we all listen to the news, and we all know what's going on. So however we want to just do our best that we can.
I think specifically the card readers and giving teachers access with those, just to have them on their fob to get in and out. I think that's going to help us out a lot when it comes down to it, because they go to the playground and they come back in just to make sure that they have something that's just for them as opposed to something that's for everybody. So.
Yeah, because then you can get the aides and all our support staff can have that card reader. It'll work out. I think it'll be a lot better.
Yep, I agree.
Any questions? Everyone?
We're good so far. Good. Thank you.
All right, on to announcements by the administration, starting with the audit update.
So typically, at our July board meeting, we're reporting that the auditors were here last week and they're complete. This year, because of the date of our meeting and the auditor schedule, they actually started today. They asked if you wouldn't mind if they did the audit off-site, which was fine. We started even pre-pandemic of uploading our items into their secure portal. So they send us a list of about 70 items that we gather, scan, and upload to them. Many are already electronic, others we're converting for them. And so they started today. We have 3 auditors on the audit, And you can tell they're in working because you get alerts when they download something out of the portal. They sent over a couple of questions, but really didn't hear much. So much that I emailed one of the head auditor today. Just said, everything going okay? Because yeah, it's so much easier when you have everything uploaded. So, and it's my primary responsibility, but Cindy and Teresa do have items that they're uploading to the portal. The really cool thing is we created a handful of years ago a perpetual list. So we're already doing a save as of this year's list, taking out the dates of when we uploaded, turning it into next year's. And Teresa already has a report that she had to do saved out there for next year. So we're always trying to improve, and we want to provide all the information. We give them view-only access to Skyward so that they can go in and they can look and dig. They have viewing rights to our WISE grants portal so they can answer some questions. So we really say, here's everything we can gather for you. We've matched everything to make sure it's right the best we can. Please give us that okay. So we expect them to finish up in the next day or two. We found the last couple of years with the remote, they sometimes get pulled away. When they're here, they're focused on it 100% for 2 days and they're done. So I do expect some questions to come next week yet. But so far, good status, just like our other years have been.
Awesome.
Good.
You'll probably get a call, or
Yeah.
they'll call both of us.
Yep.
Yeah, the work that goes into it, just probably want to say thank you to Debbie and
Yeah.
Teresa and Cindy for the work that goes into it. It's a ton, but we continue to be a model for other groups, and they say that. That's not me saying that. That's the auditor saying it. So appreciate the work. Thank you so much, and to to Teresa and Cindy, thank you to them as well.
And the savings to the district by shortening the amount of time that we're paying
Absolutely.
for.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Fantastic.
Anything further? All right, thanks again. All right, on to math curriculum update, please.
Just wanted to let you know that we have adopted a new math curriculum. We have adopted what's called Bridges, and we're really excited because it does align more with our middle school curriculum also, and that's going to be a benefit from our 5th, 6th grade transition. And it's also a curriculum that goes all the way down to 4K. So 4K has been self-created, and now we are all aligned 4K through 5th grade, and it's a better updated curriculum, and we're really excited. All of our staff but 3 have been trained, and they're ready to roll. Well, some prep to do, but they'll be there. And then 3 are going to be hopping on with other schools. We actually trained with a school out in Montana for our 3rd through 5th grade group. So they said that was really interesting hearing perspectives out there. So I'm really excited. See where it can go.
Good.
Thank you.
All right, so at this point, we're gonna move on to announcements by the board, which is 0. And we'll move to convene the executive session for chapter 1985, 1CE, Wisconsin statutes at approximately 6:24.
Make that motion.
Second.
Roll call vote whenever you're ready, please, Anne Marie.
Kneifel, Ryan,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Anderson, yes, Geske.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you so much, everybody.